Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. Today we're going to do an updated character guide on my girl Rem. She just dropped with her FRBT. I am very excited. My polls were kind of fire, not gonna lie. If you haven't seen them yet, feel free to go and check out my poll video. Should be up by the time before this video goes up, so it should be there. But yeah, dude. Rem, I'm very excited to show her off for you guys. She's a personal favorite of mine. I really like her. Is she a must-have? No, she's not a must-have, but I think she is very, very good. For those of you unfamiliar with Rem, she is a support character, and she really does she has a really strong burst heal, very strong battery. She has decent follow-ups that she's going to do after every action she does, and she has the unique ability to swap turns with any ally. So Rem is basically as good as your team is, right? Now, she's going to have a little bit more of her own power now that she's gotten an upgrade, but really Rem's strength is that she can bring the best out of your other units and let other units take more turns that are really busted that do a lot of damage, right? So you typically want to pair her with a very strong DPS character and then maybe like an off-turn character or a character like a tank or somebody that does something really good on the side if they're not taking turns, which we're going to showcase in this video, right? So in this video, we're going to look at her calls, her artifacts, and her spheres, right? Now, her calls definitely have some value, right? And the reason why is because of Cure. And Cure is her really, really big burst heal. So I've definitely used Rem Call just to have a burst heal. Burst healing is really good on calls because one way you can lose a fight is not actually by losing, but by finishing and not having the HP requirement. And a very annoying thing a boss will do is they'll poke you, like they'll be at 1% and you're about to kill them. They'll do something off turn or their turn right before, they'll poke you, and it puts you under the HP restriction. It's really nice to be able to have a call where I can just heal and then I can finish the boss and I meet the HP requirement, right? So just for that, being that it's a healing call, I think there's some value there. The LD, I don't really use as much, but it's okay, right? It does party attack and overflow, HP damage up, and brave gains up. And HP damage up is something you want on a call. So I would say that it's still very good. And then it does put a short little one-turn buff on the next ally that takes a turn, which it'll give that ally some more brave damage, HP damage, and then it gives them a 30% max brave floor. So this is kind of like what Vaughn has. So the party member, when they do their next attack, they will guaranteed keep at least 30% of their max brave after the attack. It helps them from not being able to be broken, right? So that's really good. It's just only one turn. But I really like it just for the flat out cure. But yeah, having a little bit of HP damage up on the LD is really nice. It's a nice little combo. So I definitely see some use in the call. So you definitely could, you know, if you pick up and just get her LD only, like, sure, the call is definitely a usable one. Is it the best one in the game? No, probably not. But it's usable, right? But I think if you are going for Rem, you do want her in the party. I think she's going to be a really nice piece to have. I really, really enjoy her, right? So let's take a look at her here. And we're going to look at her artifacts and her spheres. I got her spheres pretty decked out here, by the way. I went all in on her. So for artifacts, you just want to go attack 108 and max brave 330. Now, the reason why is Rem has a lot of battery, and some of her battery scales on attack, and some of it scales on max brave, and some of it scales on HP damage that she deals. So attack is going to affect the attack ones and the HP damage ones, and then the max brave is going to affect the other ones. So I think a nice combination of attack and max brave is good on her, even though she's not like a DPS, because her brave gains and battery are affected by her attack. I'd say it's a very important stat. Then we'll go ahead and look at her spheres. So she's got 2 C slots and a D slot. So what you really want to focus on with Rem, because she is really a support character, that's what she is. So flooding her with spheres that support the party are really what I would do. And I would really focus on party attack and max brave is what I would do, right? So Maria, Alphinaud, and Lude, those are the best C slot party attacks, right? So I've got Maria, which is I brave in attack, and I've got Lude, which is also I brave in attack. Or no, Lude is just attack, sorry. The other one, Alphinaud, is also I brave in attack, right? So any combination of those 3 is fine, because on all of them, you're getting 5% party attack, and that's really the stat that you care about. And then the D slot, I think the best D slots would be either Cisne, Hope, or Waka. The reason why those 3 specifically is those are attack max brave ups to the party, and those I think for Rem are the 2 most important stats. And those are the 2 like generic stats that affect most players the best, or most characters the best. So that's what I would go with. Waka though is a really nice pick for Rem because she can self-fulfill the condition. You don't hear me recommend Waka that much, because it has a pretty stingy requirement. The requirement is that character has to have 5 or more buffs on. Well, Rem can self-sustain 5 buffs herself, so she's a really good character to have Wakka on. Now, you can use Wakka on characters that don't give themselves 5 buffs, provided you have at least one other character in the party giving buffs. So you don't have to only give it to characters that have 5, but since Rem will give herself 5 buffs, I think Wakka's a pretty good pick here. So, that's what I like there. It's an attack max brave up. Alright, with that, I think we're going to hop into the showcase. One thing I do want to point out is some characters do have special weapons that you can't get on banners. And Rem actually has one. So let me show you that really quick. It is this one right here. The Karula daggers. Now, hers isn't nearly as important as other characters. There are some characters, like Vaughn as an example. He's got one of these too. These are called World of Illusion weapons. And newer players will have no idea what I'm talking about. But back when the game was super new, like literally we were only pulling for 15 CP weapons. These were like a new 15 CP weapon that came out. So there's some characters that have multiple 15 CP weapons. Actually, I think Cloud's got 3 15 CP weapons because he has like a game promo weapon that you can also get. But some of them actually have pretty good stats if you max them out, and it'll add a good stat to the character. Now, Rems, you don't have to get this, and the way you get it, by the way, the only way to get it is with your power tokens. So these are those red circle tokens that you can use to exchange for weapons. That's literally the only way you can get it now. But Rems, if you want to get it just like to make the character better, you don't need this. All it does is it makes her normal brave attack have ice element to it, which basically does nothing. It's actually probably more of a detriment, and characters are so easy to enchant, like her having the element really doesn't matter at all. And it's only on a normal brave attack. So like if she does any of her other attacks, you don't get it. And it doesn't do any stats. So the only reason you'd get this really is for the cosmetic, or if you're a collector and you want to say that you have everything, right? The gloss is actually pretty good. I'll show you the gloss here. I used to use this as my main gloss for her. They do look very nice, right? They're actually one of my favorite looking daggers. So I would say it's definitely worth the 10 power tokens for the gloss if you want it, but you don't really want it. You don't really care about getting the ice damage. It doesn't matter. Now, if this looked better with her costume, I probably for sure would get it, but I was really liking the FR is just perfect for this costume. So that's what I'm rolling with. There's the FR gloss, but I do like the gloss. It's a very nice gloss. All right. So with that, let's hop into the showcase. And I'm got a special team here. We're going to do Reigns and Queena with her just to show you like, the first thing I should say is Rem is a character that kind of works in any team build, but there are specific characters and strategies you can do to really abuse her, because one of her main gimmicks is the turn manipulation, right? So we really want to showcase that turn manipulation. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to kind of go through her kit and show everything off, right? Oh, this is not the right fight. Not the first time I've done this, by the way. So I go into my chapter 8 that I always do my showcases on, and they always put me on the wrong floor, and if I forget to switch floors, then I'm on the wrong one. Alright, we want to go here, and I just use this fight because I'm comfortable with it. I know it works for what I want to do. We'll grab an extra force charger, although I don't think we'll need it. Alright, and we'll hop in like this. Rem is going to be very easy to show off, by the way, because she's got a few instant turn attacks that go pretty quick. Alright, so Queena, we're going to just do some normal turns with Queena to start here. Sure, let's eat right away. We want to get those frog stacks up. And then Reigns, sure, Reigns, we can do an LD, and let's pull Rem up. So all I'm going to do at first is just show off Rem, explain her kit, and then I'll talk about the specific strategy that like a team build like this can do. We'll kind of do that like separately at the end. I just want to get through Rem's kit here first. Okay. Alright, so Rem, let's start with her 15 CP. So the first thing you need to know, she's a support character, right? So let's hit Cure, and we're going to watch. So just huge battery, right? And huge healing. And then she does a follow-up. So she just did 400k AoE. The thing with Rem is that it's a free instant turn, but she gets a follow-up with it, and that follow-up comes from her LD. So as long as you have your LD buff up, you get a follow-up after every action she does, and it doesn't have to be attack. So if I'm doing Cure and I'm just like force charging, like I'm getting damage with it, which is pretty nice. It's not the craziest damage, but it's damage, and I am force charging at the same time. Now, what Cure does specifically, it's a free instant turn, and it does a big heal scaled off of her attack. So once again, this is why attack is big, but any excess healing turns into battery. So that's why it's really good that even if you're at full health, you still use it, you get big fat batteries on it, right? And then it also does an additional battery scaled on her max brave and then free turn. Then she gives herself a buff called the Devoted Heart. So this is going to be an attack and an HP damage up for herself. And then the party is going to get an attack, brave damage up, and HP regen. So that's very good because then the party's passively healing even if she's not hitting Cure, right? So then we'll do swap turns, which is her main gimmick. So what this does is you actually choose a character that's going to take a turn. So let's say we want Reigns. We can actually pull Reigns up ahead of all the enemies. And then Rem literally swaps turn and she goes to where he was in the turn order. Okay? Now, the reason why Reigns combos really well is Reigns is also a turn manipulator. So Reigns could be like, well, Rem, I want you to come back up. So he's going to pull Rem back up. And they can literally just ping pong turns. So this is why Reigns and Rem is a really nice combo. And Reigns fits the role of main damage dealer that Rem works really well with, right? So that's a really, really nice combo there. And then we'll talk about how Queena kind of fits into this in a minute, right? So let's swap turns. Now, when she does swap turns, it pulls the ally up, it batteries them, it does a free turn, so it doesn't count against your turn count when you do it. And then it also EX charges, so it filled Reigns' EX gauge by 20%. And then her and the ally both get a max brave up and a speed up, okay? Now, let's go ahead and let's do Rem's LD. So this is Point Blank Siphon Sphere. Let's do that. See what the damage looks like here. Okay. And I don't have brave damage turned on, so let's see. So what was that? 700k? I think that was that couldn't have been 7 mil. Yeah, that was 700k. So not the craziest damage, right? So 700k AoE, but Rem, remember, is not a damage dealer. She's there for the support. And her FR is going to be really good, and her BT effect is going to be crazy. But yeah, she's not there for damage, and she has never been about damage, right? The other thing, too, that I should mention about her, let me see. I want to put Mustard Bomb on. Let's get some fat traps going here. The one thing that you probably won't see as much with Rem now, that I used a lot in her older kit, we'll still do it, but her HP plus, because once again, you're not going to always want to press Cure or swap turns or LD, right? So sometimes as a turn filler, you will use her HP plus, but it does a really, really nice battery on it. So it's not like a terrible thing to do, and you get the follow-ups with it, right? So let's do Reigns to bring Rem back up. And we will do her HP plus. We'll see if I can dump some Brave here so that we can see the Brave come in. Although Reigns is now full again. And Rem's going to battery up a little bit here. All right, so let's do, well, we can do the, we'll do the AA, which is just going to give some generic stats. It's going to battery. And you can see, even with the AA, we got the off turn. It still did like 500k off turn, right? So her off turn damage, I would say, is good. Not bad at all. So it did do a battery. And then the party will get Brave gains and Overflow gained up and Overflow stolen up. So yeah, just some nice buffs to have on there, right? Oh, we have the EX too, actually. So let's just do the EX while we have it. Let me just double check my calls. I don't really need to do that call yet. Sure, let's do the EX. This is Siphon Delta. I want to see what the damage looks like here. Okay, yeah, about 700k AoE. But we've been doing this without, like, BTFX active. So her damage is actually going to be a lot better than that. I was just waiting to put BTFX up. Let's get some BTFX up. Let's get Queena's up. We'll kind of show, we'll start showing like the abuse stuff that you can do here. So with Queena, let's do the Ultimate Cook. So you guys already know, if you've been watching my channel since Queena came out, Queena's so busted because her BT effect makes it so you always deal the maximum HP damage no matter what. So we're always going to get max damage now. The thing is, it's got a short turn duration, right? It's only 5 turns. Well, this is where Rem and someone like Reigns can come in handy. You can use Rem to just keep the damage dealer and Rem up front, and then let Queena sit there and you just abuse that effect, right? So now, like, I got a... And then the other thing, too, with Rem's LD, it gives the entire party a free skill use. Now, I think this is something that kind of goes underrated with Rem, because there's a lot of characters in the game that maybe have low skill counts on things, or they don't give themselves free skill uses. It literally makes all of your characters last longer in a fight. So it's nice because she can give free skill uses to skills that were never intended to have it and don't normally have it. So I think that's a very underrated thing about Rem that's actually very good. So I'm going to do Cure because it's free. I always use Cure when it's free because it's, once again, it's free battery, it's free force charging, you get the free follow-up. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't use it. So when she gets her own free skill use after the LD, that's what I like to pop. I think with Rem, it might be time to drop the BT. I think it is. Let's drop the BT. This is nutty. I got to see the animation on this. I haven't done this yet. Oh my gosh, Machina floating down. Nice. That is a nice animation. And about a mil AoE. That's fairly standard, right? Fairly standard damage. So it's a 6-turn duration. Oh, and then the follow-up for a mil now. Okay. So her follow-up just did a mil. Now that we got some BT effects up, we got to get the Rain's BT effect up as well. But let's talk about Rem's BT so you guys can understand how busted this is. So this burst effect is going to be for 6 turns, okay? So the first thing is there's going to be Brave gain after every HP attack. So it's going to make sure that your party does a lot of damage because you're always going to be getting extra battery when you're doing HP attacks. Any excess healing becomes Brave. It'll fill the party EX gauge after Rem acts. So what you're going to notice is every time Rem takes a turn with her BT effect up, that our EX gauges will autofill, which is really abusable with some characters. So Rem's got some things like between the turn manipulation, the EX charging, and giving like free skill uses. These are like really interesting things. Like she's got a lot in her kit that I feel like you can really abuse. Rem is a character too. What I like about her, she's a character where you think a little bit more. She's not just like press buttons and go. Like you can strategize a lot with Rem, and I think that's why I like her so much. It just enables you to do so much, and she's so free to use with so many other characters, and you can really get some crazy things out of these characters, especially characters that have really insane EXs, right? Now the other thing is our whole party is basically like zombies. We cannot be KO'd. So we literally can't die. The only way we can die is if they do an auto kill. But if they do anything that's HP damage, we just cannot die while the BT effect is up. That's the part that's really busted. We're also getting Brave gains up, Brave damage limit up, HP damage up, and HP damage limit up. And then the other thing too is she gets a bonus because once again, we're in zombie mode. If her BT effect falls off, it full heals the party when we're done. So that's really nice because if you get hit down to 0 HP and you're in zombie mode, it makes sure that when you leave zombie mode, the whole party comes back in at full health, which is really crazy. Now with Reigns, I want to get his BT effect up so we can look at Rem. I would like to do a couple of turns, and what I might do is we might actually go into like a Rem burst phase, just so I can see like what Rem looks like. Now that we have all the BT effects up, I kind of want to look at her damage again. Alright, and then Queen is still doing their thing with the BT effect up on their end, helping us do max damage, right? I feel like, so we can do this. I know like using Cook is like the better thing here, but let's just do the EX so that it will like unfill, and then when Rem takes a turn, we should see Queen's EX like refill. That way we can look at that. Alright, and then Reigns. I kind of want to use the Reigns EX, but I also kind of just want to pull Rem up. So we're going to pull Rem up. And so what you do, so how Queena fits into this, if I didn't mention it already, is Queena basically sits back with the really busted BT effect, and then Rem and Reigns just ping pong off of each other, and then you just abuse Queena's BT effect for like almost the entire fight if you want to. If you want to play it out like that, right? Alright, so let's go into a Rem burst phase, and then when we come out, we can show off the FR, because we haven't even done the FR yet. But yeah, I want to do let's just do a regular burst phase, because I just want to see her normal damage under BT effect, and then we'll do some force stuff afterwards, right? So here, when you do go, if you do go into a burst phase, which I actually wouldn't recommend you do, you probably want your burst phase to be like your DPS character, but if you're going to use her, you want to make sure you hit the LD probably first, or early on, because you want to get that free skill use out of the way. Okay, so now with full BT effect, we just did a mill, plus the follow for another mill. So her LD now is 2 mil AoE. That's actually way more impressive now that we're looking at it under BT effects. Like, that's actually really good damage for the LD, right? It's funny, like, Can I even swap turns in a burst phase? She's never had a burst phase before. How does this even work? So I guess if I swap, like, I guess coming out of the burst, she would go to that character, I suppose, right? I guess. So sure, let's do Reigns. And does Reigns... Yeah, Reigns just moves up to the front. Interesting. I never really thought about that part, actually. Okay. Yeah. And then, dude, she's getting a mill with her follow-up AoE. That's actually really good damage. What's the EX looking like here? Let's do the EX. Yeah, dude, it makes a huge difference. Well, one, having BT effects up, and then Queena getting max damage, right? So, dude, Rem is doing like 2 mil with every button she's pressing right now, which is pretty crazy. Dude, that's right. So here's the thing. Look at this. She refills her own EX. So we can just spam EX. It makes total sense to me now, because Rem is a character whose burst phase would be so weird because it's like cure and swap turns. You're not actually doing attacks. Well, that's the solution. She charges her own EX. You just spam her EX. That's something that I actually didn't realize until like actually using her right now. Because I thought of her as like recharging the allies' EXs, but not actually doing her own to spam. So that means during her force time, she can every single turn do a powerful attack if you want to. And you don't have to waste an FR turn doing a swap turn. That's very good design. Like, they did a very good job with that. Let's see the FR attack. And sure, we'll pick Reigns again. We'll talk about... I'm going to do the FR outside of burst, and then we'll look at it again. Yeah, dude, the more I play her, like, I do like her. Dude, she's so fun. And like I said, she's so versatile. She does so much for other party members. You can do so many creative things with her. But yeah, she's not like Aerith levels of busted, right? That's why, you know, I wasn't at the beginning of the month like, you gotta get Rem, right? She is optional. But if you like her, if you like this playstyle, if you like the things I'm talking about, she's definitely worth going in on, for sure. I'm going to use her a lot. Alright, so we did a mill AoE there. Not too bad. Alright, so we're going to use Reigns. And we refresh the burst, so we're still like invincible, right? So let's use Reigns to pull Rem back up. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's get Rem back. And now we're going to go into Rem FR, and let's see what this FR can do. Let's just see what the Rem FR can do. By the way, this whole time we've just abusing the Queen of BT. Like, we're not letting it run out because we've done so much turn manipulating, right? Okay, so let's do it. So, like, I could do it again, right? So just to demo this, I guess, sure, let's do it one more time. So this is how it works, right? You see how Queena's got a turn coming up? And I don't want Queena to take turns because I want to abuse the BT effect. So we swap into Reigns. So, bam, swap to Reigns. And then Reigns can use his turn manipulation to bring Rem back. So now Reigns gets a turn. Now, the thing you have to be careful of is, like, yeah, you have to balance, like, during an FR gauge and BT effects, because as I'm doing this, I'm also draining Reigns' BT effect. So you have to be aware that you're doing this at specific times, when you're in a force time and you want to get that big damage, right? But it's definitely something you can play around with. Okay, so now, Queena, you can just take a normal turn. Actually, let's get some traps on. Sure. Let's throw down some traps with Queena. Alright, now Rem's going to go FR. These enemies aren't going to last very long. We got them about done. But let's do that Rem FR now for real. Let's do it. Resonance Holy. Alright, so let's talk about it, because we get to pick a character, right? So let's talk about what this is doing before we pick our character. So it is going to pull up an ally, so it's kind of like swap turns, but it's going to pull them up. It's going to do a party battery scaled off of Max Brave, a big AoE attack, and then the HP damage conditions are this. As long as the party is above 20% max brave when you end your turn, 40%. Which, with what Rem's doing with all the battery, you should always have that pretty much, right? And then if you battery an ally on turn, it's 20%. But if Rem does it, it's 40%. So basically, Rem can get 80% on turn. Other characters are going to get 60%. Not the craziest, but fairly easy conditions, right? So let's go ahead. I guess Rem can pull herself back up. So I think this is a way you can get back-to-back turns with Rem. So let's see what the damage looks like here again. And then we'll see what we can do for force damage. Yep, Rem can pull herself up. That's good to know. So 2 mil AoE, pretty standard. And then we're going to do that. The follow-ups don't add to the gauge. Alright, so as long as we do something that batteries, we should be good. I kind of want... So, sure, let's do Cure. What do we get on a Cure? So Cure's 113%. So you know what that's like? That's a little bit of like the Hope shenanigans, right? So Hope and Pinello, she's got a hint of that, right? She can do it. I can ramp. Let's go crazy. I mean, and then here's the thing. While she's doing this quote-unquote Hope ramping of 113%, it's not 125, but 113 is pretty close. But look at this. Hope doesn't do this. Hope doesn't give his own damage. So Rem can just sit here and spam Cure during a force, get her own damage. Now, what if we have Core on the side? What if we have Yang on the side, right? What if we have these other off-turn characters? What if we have Kane in the air and we got Core on the ground? That's a really abusable thing we can do, and we can just let her ride her own force like that. We can just charge up and the enemies are going to be dead, right? Like, look how fast she's ramping. And then the thing is, that's what's so valuable is she's doing it with providing her own damage. Then we have the option to echo as well. We can echo, and then on the echo, we can pull her up and just keep her going. She can self-sustain her own force on her own if we want her to without a burst phase. So she could just pull out this crazy Rem combo. I kind of like this. So my thought is Rem is probably not usually going to be my main BT, right? But let's say I'm doing Tifa. Do a Tifa BT, do all the crazy shenanigans, her big burst phase, 70 mil shots, whatever. And then maybe as a secondary force afterwards, I can just go into Rem, Cure, Echo, Cure, EX, Tifa big blast, out of here. Like, you can do some stuff. So Rem is a character that, like, she's not outwardly, like, the best character in the game or anything like that. But, man, she's a character if you like to strategize, if you like to think, if you like to be creative with your team building. Dude, she can really do a lot, and there's a lot you can get out of her. So I think she's awesome. Super fun character. Very excited to use her a lot. Let me know what y'all think. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.